had to quickly run across the island because I have the camera on a stand, and I'm so excited to be here with my friend Keita.
Hi.
She is the Smashing Petals, and we've done actually a few projects together. And so I'm so excited that she's here with me to show you how to use the Holly Chapel pillows. I don't know if you can see it, but there it is. And Holly Chapel actually designed this compote, and it fits the 4-inch pillow that we have perfectly. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is the different florals that we brought in together, how to prep your flowers to be able to put it in here, and talking about the foundations of how to arrange a floral arrangement. And then one of the biggest thing is, so
I'm really excited too because I've never used the pillow before, so I'm excited to use that. And normally when Quinn and I work together, we've got some paper flowers in the mix, and we're just using all garden flowers today.
Yes.
I do have some dried flowers as well to mix in, so we'll kind of have some of the same needs as a paper flower.
exactly.
They don't need any water.
I know, which is the fun thing. But the really important thing is, like, you know, with paper flowers, everything is wired, so you can actually bend certain things, whereas dry things, you don't want to bend it because you'll break it.
Right, they're much more fragile.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the pillow. So the pillow is made out of plastic. It is water durable, it's rust durable, resistant or durable.
Yeah.
And the great thing is about it's not too expensive. They are a little bit costly, but you can reuse them again and again. And
put some water in here.
yes, Keita's gonna put some water in it because we're playing with real flowers. And we're gonna talk about how to put the pillow into the compote and make sure it stays. And the one thing that Keita and I talked about was using some floral putty. And this is what we have right here. You can buy it at any floral stores. And what you do is you just drop the pillow into the compote. And you can use pretty much any compote that will fit a 4-inch diameter. So you just don't need very much. You just want to go ahead, stick a little bit on the side, just like that.
And I actually didn't put water in it because I remembered we were using the putty. So you probably want to do your puttying first and then put the water in.
Yes, but the putty will be water resistant
once you've got it.
Exactly, like firmly in place.
Yep, so I'm going to do 3 points of contact here.
Yes. And also, don't forget, if you have any questions, put it in the comments. And also, I believe Instagram has that little question mark at the very bottom. If you click on it and type in your question, we'll be able to see it, and we'll make sure to answer any of the questions that you might have. So, and if we miss it, I'm going to post this in the Posey Box group. So we'll be talking about a little bit more once I save the video and post it up to the group. So we have the pillow almost firmly attached.
I'm not used, so it's a little bit smaller than the inside of the vase. So I'm finding that I need to put my putty on the
what do you call that?
The outcropping.
Yes.
Of the pillow rather than on the inside.
Yes.
Okay, so now it's in.
Yay! It's firmly attached, as you can see. Now we're going to add the water in it. And once the water in, the putty's not going to move or anything like that. So I can't wait to play with flowers. And before we do, we're going to talk about all the different components that we actually brought at a floral store, and also what we actually forage in her backyard, and also what she had in her garage that she's been drying. So a lot of different fun components in here.
Yeah. So Quinn got these beautiful roses. What are these called?
The Campanella Peach.
Right.
And they're so beautiful. I think they're from California, and they're really closed. I'll close it up real quick.
Okay.
But there's another one that's open a little bit more, and you can kind of see it kind of unfurl a little bit. And would that technique, when you blow into it, will it blow open or not? Because it's
yeah,
too
it may
tight.
blow open a little bit.
Yeah. So you can kind of see it a little bit, and that's one of the techniques I learned from one of my florist friends, is blow into it, because it's going to like bloom a little bit more. Oh, here's another one that's really open, so you can kind of see. Look how beautiful that is. So the outside, if you guys are wanting to make this, there's a little bit of green, and a little bit of dark pink, yellow, peach, and orange, and it's so beautiful. So let me see if I can do the side for you, so you can see the outer crop of the petals. And it has 5 sepals back there, and it's pretty big, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it. Can I show it to you in a better way? There you go. There you go. All right, and what else do we have?
So you got these hyacinth here, which are smelling amazing.
One of my favorite spring smells.
Mine too. So these are gorgeous.
Yep.
You see that? Yeah.
Yay.
I wish you could smell it too.
I know. It smells amazing. It's like perfuming the whole kitchen.
And these anemones.
Yes.
So these are in a great spot for lasting for like, you know, at least over a week because they're so tight right now. So when you get them, if you were doing an event or something, you would want to buy them a little bit ahead and keep them someplace a little bit warm because they'll start to open. You might even see them opening as we do this.
Exactly.
And then some beautiful budded purus. So this is really beautiful. Texture.
Yes. And the
So
thing
important.
you want to really think about when you're doing floral arrangement is think of all the different textures, the different sizes, and the different colors so they can balance and contrast each other.
And then what is this?
This one is called, what is that name? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out, but it is called, I can't pronounce
It's like
it.
a baby monstera.
But it's not.
But it's not.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that
cute.
cool?
And then I did some foraging in my yard, so I found some hellebores.
Or Christmas rose, as they call
Yeah,
it. Isn't that
rose.
beautiful? I love that color.
Yeah, and so with these, you want to make sure that they have hardened off a bit before you cut them. This one had, or that at least one on the stem has hardened.
When you say harden, what does that mean for people that don't know that terminology?
So, let's see. So like if you look inside this little bud here, you can see it's got lots of frills on the inside. And so the more frilly on the inside it is, the newer it is. And so you sort of want them to be old, so all the frills falling off. So you can see this one here, the frills are really falling off of it and it's starting to get a bit greener and less white, and that's when it's going to last the longest in the base. So,
and they actually last a pretty long time. I was saying like more than a week.
if you pick them at the right time, if you pick them when they're at their prettiest, then they'll droop and so you won't get to enjoy it.
Exactly.
I've got this beautiful.
I love that.
This is Daphne odorata, and it also is one of the most beautiful winter garden smells
Oh my
there
gosh.
is. So
can
they're not
smell
quite
it.
open,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll
But
see.
I can
Maybe
smell
they'll-
it like a block away.
Yeah.
It's that fragrant. So
Yeah.
the Daphne, they have a lot of different varieties, but all the winter Daphne foliages are just amazing.
Yeah, and then I got some camellia. It needed to be trimmed anyway. So.
And they're great because look at the beautiful shapes and the structure of it. So,
Right.
I know. We're going to have so much fun putting this together. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody.
And then the last thing I foraged is some of this great Dusty Miller.
So a lot of you, I know, paper florists make Dusty Millers, but this particular variety is called a lace Dusty Miller. And you can see how beautiful the foliage is and so delicate.
And it's fun when it's garden grown because it gets these really crazy twisty shapes. So
Love
we
it.
like to see that.
Yay!
And then I just have a bunch of lovely, if we tried.
I'm going to move this over so
Things.
everyone can see. I'm
Yeah.
gonna cover myself a little quick.
So some Brasilia with the pretty bits cut out, left over from something else,
Yeah.
some dried hydrangea, some baby's breath and status, and then of course the seeded yucca.
Yay! So much fun. So I'm going to move this over. And then do you want to talk about those branches?
Oh yeah, so everybody loves old sticks, right? It's not just me.
We love it. Look at the potential of the arrangement with this
So
structure in
fun.
it.
Look how big and crazy we could make this if we
Yeah.
wanted to. So that's tulip magnolia, and then these are just, I think these are also tulip magnolia, and
Look how fun that
just
is, you guys.
covered with some lichen moss.
Beautiful. And this is all from your garden?
I think the old sticks are from Becky's garden.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right.
Shall we get started?
Let's do it.
So let's talk about, before you start, you have all your different flowers and all the different colors, and we have them spread out in individual like vases and things like that, so you can see things a little bit more easily. And you would do the same thing with paper flowers. Make sure you put everything out so you can visually see it and think about the potential of what it would look like inside the vase. So, as you know, I think I talked to a lot of paper florists, and they always do the opposite of what a florist does. We always think, oh, the star must be the flowers, but the florists, on the other hand, they really think about doing the foliages, and that's building your foundation up and then putting your star flowers in to kind of shine and showcase them. So, am I missing anything about that?
No, you just are. You're just wanting to build your structure with your foliages. Usually, if you are doing something without foliage, then you still want to be intentional about how you're using your flowers to build the structure. So we get to work with Tulipina at Flora Abundance coming up.
I know, we're going there in about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So exciting.
And so she's one who doesn't use a lot of foliage. So so you could look to some of her work.
Yeah, so look, Tulipina, she's totally amazing. I think of all the styles that's pretty much out there, if you really want to focus on the paper flowers as being the star, her styling and floral arrangement is really perfect if you want to do less foliages and more flowers.
Yep. So we've got some pretty foliage today, though. So we're gonna use some.
Oh my gosh, so many foliages.
Okay, so I think I want to start with my Daphne.
Yay!
And so what I'm going to be trying to do is cover my mechanics. So I want to not see this pillow when I'm done.
Yep. And we've already conditioned the foliages and everything by trimming it to make sure that each of the what would you call this, a branch?
Yeah.
They can absorb as much water as possible, so they'll last a lot longer.
Yeah, and we also wanted to make sure that we don't have any of our leaves in the water.
Very important. A lot of bacteria is on the leaves. So no leaves, only branches and stems in the water. And how often would you change the water?
I would probably change it every 2 days at the minimum. Mostly I do event work, so I don't have to change them.
Yay!
Okay, so maybe we should do some of this.
So when you're thinking about this, do you already have an idea of like how it's going to look? Is it going to be that free and wild style? Are we going to do a more like simple, dense style? What do you think?
I think I usually tend toward just being more free and wild. I want to see the organic movement of the branches, that they're going the way that they want to go and not necessarily the way I might try to force them to go. And I like things to have a little bit more air in them.
Me too.
Which means it's still gonna get packed with flowers.
Yes.
But I'm gonna be putting my greenery in so that
So the main purpose right now is covering this pillow part so you don't see anything. And I think already with the dark vase and the dark pillow, it's already doing half its job where you don't really see it. So you want to make sure that you just visually just cover it when a person first look into it, they don't see the pillow. And I love what she has. This is a Lazy Susan, and it has a rubber mat so the vase won't slide around. So that I think that's really fun and different. So that way you can see, if you're doing an arrangement, you want to be able to see it all 360 degree sides. So that way you can turn it around and kind of see if you're missing any empty spots and things like that.
And I'm trying to make sure that I am getting the stems. So remember, on the pillow there's the top and then there's the bottom. So I'm trying to make sure that my stems are going through not just the top, but like also hooking sort of underneath the bottom. So that's where I can get a little bit more length and you know, get more volume on the arrangement.
And you always want to make sure when you put the branches or stem in that it is in contact with the water. Very important, you guys. I've done it before where I like thought I put it in, but really I was hooking it toward the top and not going to the bottom. And then one really important thing is as you're going through, you want to make sure all the foliages look healthy and there's not any like damages that's visually seen. That I think it'll help with the overall look.
I just got rid of that one. It's too yellow. I don't like it.
And take off any stems that you don't like. Even though it's healthy and it adds too much, you can strip it down and thin it down a little bit.
Yeah. You're in control of what the arrangement is going to look like.
And I think the really important thing is do a lot of floral arrangement. That way you can start filling out your style. Read up on the different styles. Try different techniques. Find out which one calls to you the most and then use it more often. And I think the more you do, the more natural things will just start coming. It's like, oh, I see this one goes here or that one goes there. And just make sure when you're doing this that you're fitting your style and you're also thinking about the bride style or the client style and where they want to put this arrangement in.
So when you are working with a lot of greenery, a good rule of thumb is if you have put all your greenery in and you're like, oh, I could stop right now, then you're done.
Yes.
And so if you are putting your greens in and you're like, oh, you know, it'll be better when I get the flowers in, like maybe you want to keep going because sometimes it can be harder to fill in after you've got some of those blooms in there. So you want to make sure you've got a really good structure.
Yes. And right now, I do see your questions, but I'm really far away from the phone right now. So we're going to finish this real quick, and then I'm going to bring the phone a little bit closer, and then we'll start answering a lot of questions for you guys. But if I can see it as I'm looking at the phone, I will definitely jump in and try to answer it for you.
So this is a little bit crazy, but
love it.
Let's see. Let's see if we like it.
I love it. I see the potential of this really being, I love the free and wild style. I would say that is my natural inclination to make arrangement that are a little bit fun and crazy and just like, it just pops out. I think that calls to me. I love these lace Dusty Miller. They're so beautiful. And if you ever touch one, it is so soft. I think one of the softest foliage would be the lamb's ear.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're pretty fun.
Right. It's a little too crazy. I'm not going to be able to get it.
So when you do snip it, make sure you always snip it at a slight diagonal. I am loving this. Look at the fun texture. You have some highlights, some lowlights, and then the Daphne with the flower buds are just adding that pop. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, and the yellow.
Be pretty with the roses.
Yes, I think so too.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So
beautiful.
what should we do next? So, it can be good to start with some bigger blooms. I was also thinking about how my garden is set up, and I actually have hyacinth planted underneath my rose bushes.
Oh. So before we go on, would you say this is kind of the front?
I think this is, yeah.
So we'll switch it around to the camera real quick so you can kind of see.
I think this is going to be the front, yeah.
I mean, it's going to look beautiful on all sides, but intentionally we're going to do one that's like...
Yeah, we're going to pick a front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So pretty. I love this color so much. And the really cool thing about this pillow is being able to, like, instead of putting it straight up and down, you can actually put it on the side and it's going to stay at that particular position.
Right.
So I'm going to turn this around so they can see what you just did. And look how it's just hanging there. Just so beautiful. I love it. All right, we're going to switch it back. What a beautiful color. These hyacinths are kind of like blue at the very bottom, and then the very top is like this beautiful purple. And then, oh, it's so beautiful. I love it.
So as I'm putting these in, I'm looking at the branches of the foliage that I've already put in, and I'm trying to sort of have them go and follow those lines. So that's why it's the structure, because it's creating that line for me to follow. So you can see the Daphne here and the hyacinth here, and then the camellia here and the hyacinth sort of following each other.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's get a nice.
So even though it's a free and wild style, you think that you're just putting things in, there are structures and foundations and guidelines on how to put this particular arrangement together.
And then I'm gonna work on this back here. No hyacinth behind. Another really twisty stem, so this guy's gonna be a little bit shorter. The nice thing about the pillow too is that, especially if you're working with some of that the chicken wire that's a little bit of the smaller gauge, it can kind of shred your stems, and so I'm noticing that that's not
An issue with this.
not an issue.
Yeah. Love it.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah.
They've got very fat stems. Okay, so hyacinths are in, and I wanted to have them be, they're gonna be, in some cases, lower than my roses, to sort of mimic what's happening in my garden. So we're gonna do the roses next.
And Valentine's coming next month, everybody, so this will be your chance to really play with a lot of roses.
Yes.
And is there like how many seconds the stem, once you cut it, should be exposed to the air before you make sure that you put it back in the water?
Like, just do it as fast as you can. Yeah.
So really think about where you're putting it.
Right.
And then once you think about it, cut it and then stick it in.
And roses can be very stiff looking if you, so we aren't going to want to see their stems, so we're going to make sure that we're not seeing their stems here. So I'm cutting them sort of short.
There's a lot of stems in the pillow.
Yeah,
so
already a lot of stems in the pillow.
And the hyacinth is so fat that's taking up so much room.
Yeah. It's gonna force that open.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. The colors is just so beautiful.
So pretty.
So what is your thought as you think about the next one? Where are you putting it? Where are you trying to find a balance? Are you trying to create a little bit more like heaviness on one side? How does that work?
Well, I'm looking for holes. I'm trying to make sure that they're not, so like I wouldn't want to do it so that they're both like right next to each other and the exact same level. But I do want to cluster them a little bit. So like, make sure. Gosh, these hyacinths are just taking up all of the room in here.
You're taking too much real estate.
That's cute.
I really like that.
They're pretty tight. They really need some extra help. Roses are another one that you want to make sure you're buying in advance. You know, you can check online at how they look. Flirty Florists has a great blog about how certain roses look. You know, 5 days after you buy them, 3 days, and so you can see sort of how many days you want to have them in advance of your event. There we go. I got it. There we go.
And if you haven't checked out flirtyflora.com, Alicia is amazing. She's done so many different posts about floral arrangement, color components, things like that. And she's just a wealth of information. I'm so excited to have her with the masterclass. So if you guys already signed up for the masterclass, you're going to meet her in person. Make sure you check out her website. Learn as much as you can so you can ask some really great questions because she is a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, she'll be at Floral Abundance also.
Yes, I'm so excited. She's the keynote speaker. Well, not keynote, the first speaker to come out. So I'm really excited about that. So Keita and I are going together to Santa Barbara to learn more about floral arrangement. So I'm super excited to learn as much as I can.
Right. Pyrrhus is trying to hop out of the vase over there.
It's like, my turn, my turn.
Maybe.
So while we're doing that, I'm just going to turn it so you can kind of see all the different angles. And I love how this is going. So beautiful. And this is perfect for if you have a dinner. This is nice and low where people can still talk across each other.
Yes.
So really important to think about when you're doing centerpieces for like for dining room tables or for weddings. You want to be able to, for the other person that's sitting across from you to have good conversation. So let me see here. You have a question. Can you tell me the name of the turning pan? So this, where would you get this and what is this called?
I think I got it at Bed Bath & Beyond, just a Lazy Susan.
Yep. And you want to make sure that has the rubber mat in the bottom so things don't slide around. So right now I just saw a coupon, 20% off for an item. So it would be a great thing to go and get. And you know, Amazon always have them too. So check that out. So if you want it, if you can't find a Bed Bath & Beyond, Amazon's great. I'm gonna do a shout out because my husband works for Amazon.
Yeah, they're needing help, right?
Yeah. Well, he's doing drone delivery, and the funny thing is, it's really interesting to see how that is coming along. I can't say much because there's like DNA clause, but I can say a little bit about it.
Okay. All right. So I think I'm gonna stop with the roses just for now. Just
so
to
pretty.
Kind of fill in with some other things.
I love how the two yellows are completely different. Like this one is deep in gold. So I don't know if you can see this, but look how beautiful and deep in gold. But right next to it is the same rose, but it's so much lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it's charming too. I love it. And now we're putting in the hellebores.
Yeah. Just see if we can. I really want to make sure we can see these.
They're just so beautiful. I love that color.
Right?
Maybe if we turn it.
Well, the hellebore's gonna do what the hellebore
Wants
is
to
gonna
do. We're stuck this way.
So you, luckily they're very beautiful from the back as well, because they do twist and turn on you.
Yep. And if you guys are interested in making a paper hellebore,
Oh,
Kate, this is where we first met.
where we met.
So we met 2 years ago at Carpe Diem. It's a local class, and they actually opened a physical store now, which is really awesome in West Seattle. And we learned how to make the hellebore together at Kate class. And Kate is also one of my instructors for the master class, which I'm super excited. Oh my gosh, that little pear right there is so adorable. We're going to turn it around in a second so you can see how beautiful it is. And the one thing I really love about floral arrangement, if you took a picture here, or there, you can see little components and little stories about the flowers, which I really, really love. So I do see like right here, because it's so green.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I want any old sticks, because I want to, just judging by how crowded it is, so if I want any the old sticks in there, now might be the time to.
And I think you should. Oh my gosh.
Let's do some old sticks.
I love it. And these are called lichens, right?
Yeah,
the moss.
The mossy bit. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful.
And
Can you see that okay?
We're kind of going out at that side. So what I'd really like is to get something also to kind of go on this side to balance it out because it's so big. So let's see. Let's see what we can do. And so this is violating the rule of, you know, trying to make it no higher than your hand if it's going on a table, but because it's so see-through, it's not going to cause me any problem if I wanted to look at Quinn.
Yeah. I can see her.
So it's a little bit more upright than I want it to be.
I love that. Like if we can get it a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want a little bit more of an angle, I think. I think that is maybe something that would be sort of a downside of the pillow is that chicken wire is flexible. So if I was pushing this in on my chicken wire, I'd be able to be bending the chicken wire and I could maybe get it a little bit more easily to do the angle that I wanted. But so that is maybe, you know, one pro. Yeah, one pro.
And then later this month, I'll come in with some chicken wires, and I'm going to show you how to make your own pillow with the chicken wire.
Okay. So I can just feel him moving around.
Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, great. So let's do some of our Paris. That's going to help us fill in because I can still see so much.
Like little pockets. And the thing is, don't be afraid to like really nestle your flowers or foliage down beneath because it's at a dining room area, so people are actually going to be seeing it up close. So don't be afraid. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love how the texture of that. It just it's so different from everything else in the arrangement.
Yeah, and I like the depth of color that really is pulling in the sort of dark edges of the rose.
Yeah.
There we go.
And that's one thing you want to really think about too on floral arrangement is make sure you have like, if there's a star flower and it has like different colors in it, make sure you're grabbing other flowers or other foliage or other bits to kind of highlight it and make it pop out a little bit more.
So this has 2 on it, so I'm just gonna cut it down.
And don't be afraid, strip it away. There's certain things you don't like, take it off.
And don't forget to have your compost bag near you.
Yes.
So that you're not making as big of a mess by hand.
I will help you clean up.
Oh. Let's see. I want to do another one. Great.
Hellebore is so beautiful.
They're just so delicate right now.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm going to turn this around because I want to have you see what I'm seeing. So can you see this? I'll try to slide it across so you can kind of see. And just look how the Paris just adds a little bit more depth and it's bringing in that contrast. So the rose has a little bit of dark red and it's just making it pop out even more. And then let me see if I can move the branch over a little bit so you can kind of see. It's so pretty, guys. And this is right now, that's the front. This is you're seeing the back, but look how pretty the back is. The back is just gorgeous. This is really gorgeous, Keita. Oh, I think any bride that hires you next year is, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I love it. So while we're putting this together, I want to talk a little bit about when we do weddings and you have like a dozen tables. Mm-hmm. Do you try to do your centerpiece all similar or do you try to make it a little bit different because you're following the flowers so much?
So I guess that's the thing is you really can't make them all the same. You've got to give up a bit on the idea of having them be identical.
Yeah.
So the phrase I always use is, I just want them all to look like they're going to the same party.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah. So you're gonna have all the same ingredients, but maybe you won't have the same number of roses, either because your count ended up being slightly uneven, or because some of the roses are bigger than the others, and maybe you don't need as many in one. And so you should be very flexible with yourself about that, and not get upset if they're not coming out perfect.
And I think that also follows the rules for paper florists too. I would say that if you're making all your roses, like you're making 50 roses, you're going to have different roses in the end. So you want to be able to have some a little bit smaller, some bigger, just give a little bit more interest and contrast instead of looking at the room across the the ceremony room or the dining room, I guess.
Yeah.
They all look similar, so there's nice contrast and depth to it.
One left, and I just want one more, so that's perfect. Good job shopping.
Thank you very much. I love that you and I think very similar.
Yes,
And it helps a lot.
works out nicely.
It does.
So I wonder if I can get this Paris to sort of follow.
I was
that
thinking the
line.
same. Yeah. And I think that really helps. Just remember, as you're putting in the stems and the branches, you want to follow everyone else kind of parallel, but kind of giving it a little bit of space in between.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that's fun. So I think I'd like to put a couple more roses
Right-
in.
like
Yep,
right here,
I'm
right?
gonna sink them down.
So we have about 6 more roses left, so you can kind of see. And so how do you go about choosing, because they're all a little bit different in colors. Like,
I think I'm not too worried about it color-wise.
Yeah.
I think that there can be, I've noticed with the paper flowers, there can be even more variance, just because of how you mix your inks, or whether it's the first one you're doing or the last one you're doing. So I think, it is probably really important to think about that. I'm looking more probably towards the shape. So I've got, quite a bit of space in here that I want to fill in. So I'm gonna pick this bigger one, and I want it to be a bit low. So I'm gonna cut him kind of short. This is gonna be a little secret to surprise for somebody who's
peeking in
at the centerpiece, looking to see if you covered all your mechanics.
Because who knows when you have a florist sitting at your dining room table.
We're the worst.
We are. We're nitpicking.
Yeah. So I actually feel like he could be even lower.
I think so too.
So
yeah.
Come out.
I am in love with the shape that you put in. The branches add so much texture and dynamic to this. I'm gonna just kind of show you what I'm talking about. So this part right here, the stems. Yeah.
Well, and it's nice too because we've got some, these summery looking roses, and then our springy hyacinths, and so it's a nice reminder that it's still winter.
Yes. We're only in January, the
I
first
know. Okay. So I've got a lot of stems crossed in the center, which is good, but it makes it a little tricky to get that all the way down there. But that is what I wanted to do.
Pretty. Oh my gosh.
In there.
Even though it's nestled inside, I can see it from all the angles. And it's just beautiful. Just looking across, I'm like, oh my goodness. What great pieces inside.
Yeah. So let's see about some of these crazy guys. What
I
do you think?
know. Let me move the roses out of your way.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they're not open yet, and so your floral arrangement, even though you made it, is going to change as it starts blooming. All the roses, the delphiniums, the hellebores probably won't move much because they're really firm. But will these bloom? Because I've seen them open.
I don't know if they'll open, and I don't know if the Daphne will open either.
Yeah.
So the thing to think about when you're using both the anemones and also tulips is that they are going to keep growing.
Yes, and they will get longer, which is really, really fun.
So I have a gap here where I would like another flower, but I don't necessarily want it to be another big, heavy rose. So, I'm going to put that there and just know that it's going to be amazing.
Do this over
in a couple of days.
Right there. Here it is.
I've got another spot over here. And I do like to leave these long just because their stems are so beautifully twisty.
So fun.
I think these are, try to be careful when I'm putting.
I'm going to show you what she's just put in real quick so you can kind of see it. So we found a little gap right here, and we're just going to, gap right here, and then we just stuck that in.
I'm going to put this one here, and I'm going to make them not go the same way because I don't want to end up with eyeballs.
Do avoid that, you guys.
Avoid the eyeballs.
And you want to avoid polka dots. This is what you taught me.
Oh yeah.
Don't do the polka dot pattern.
I am an offender when it comes to the polka dots. Gosh,
I do see one right here.
yeah, I'm going to do one.
Yeah. So beautiful. So many fun texture and colors and depth. I love it. Hyacinth, scoot over. We need some room.
Okay. Is he in? He's not in. Oh, now he's there. He is. You can feel it. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. You know what we could do is we could take some of the, we could grab some of the dried things.
Oh yeah. I will hold it for you while you decide. Oh, sorry.
Let's see. Do we want to lighten it up or?
Let's lighten it up. I feel like it's really good.
Let's get a little bit of white in there.
Yeah.
This is some status. So I think that's all of the status that I have in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one more.
Sneaky.
Yep. Yeah, they like to break the dried things. So, let's see. Here.
Fun.
So these don't need to be touching the water, but they do need to be in securely.
And I think that's really important. Make sure when you do have floral arrangement to have some bigger things, some heavier things, and some light wispy items. Just to, once you put all that in, you want to create lightness by adding airy pieces in.
Got this too.
Yay!
Yeah. Delicate.
I love that we started out with nothing and now we have this gorgeous, colorful happiness in the middle of winter.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, I'm going to turn this around so you guys can see it. Look how beautiful that is. Should we move some of this over? Oh, actually, you won't see it very much, so I think you're fine.
Yeah, and when these open, that's going to give us even more volume. But yeah, we didn't jam it too tight with the roses, so we've still got a lot of air moving through it.
Yeah, so love it. Well, thank you so much, everybody. If you have any questions, I'm going to post this in the Posey Box group, and so whoever's is part of my subscribers, we can talk about this a little bit more, and we can talk about any questions that you might have, and also the fundamental of this. And then next week, I'm going to meet up with Alicia, and we're going to do another floral arrangement, and the style will be really different. We're going to be playing with winter/spring flowers, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining. I'm going to run around and turn the phone off.